Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is doing this pullback that we talked about in the previous video today, and in the live stream I highlighted that it possibly did here this sort of throw over above this ascending wedge. And I did also mention to you that most of these wedges indeed break to the downside. It's not just a retail pattern what it is, but they do indeed break to the downside. Most of the time, these ascending wedges, they are patterns of exhaustion. Did we actually look for divergences? I can't remember, but there were surely bearish divergences on here, and all of that adding together, and then the Fed did the rest, and yeah, it is heading down. That's sort of my best count, updated already on Telegram and Discord earlier today. There's no change to that. I'm looking at the idea that the wave 1 peaked here on the 20th of March at around 28,600, and then that it came down in A wave, overshooting B wave, and we're now coming down in a C wave. Ideally, it really pulls back to 26,274. That would be the ideal pullback. You know how it works. They don't need to. There is no rule for a wave 2 to pull down that much. But yeah, you normally like to see the 50% retracement to be addressed, okay? Also, if I count, well, it's hard to count the subwaves really because there isn't too much to see. It's a bit of a structureless mess, which often is the case when you have these fast moves on a Fed day. But yeah, I mean, this might be some kind of a wave 4 here, typical sideways action that is expected to continue to move down, as they typically do these triangles. But it's a bit too early, but yeah, it's a bit of a strange pattern. It starts to look a bit too big for a wave 4, but then again, this is a low time frame. OD is actually the 5-minute chart, and be aware that on a Fed day like this, when we've got something like, it could be CPI data, could be interest rate increases or things like that, then you tend to see these strong movements and sometimes things to be a little bit out of proportion. So yeah, let's see if it continues to push down a little. The break of the trend line was like a first indicator that this move here is over and that we get the needed pullback. Did highlight that a pullback is due for Bitcoin. Now we need to see if it can turn around in this orange support area. Ethereum is now in a very similar wave count as Bitcoin. And if it can hold here, the wave 2, then the third wave can take us into the 35K region plus. Other than that, there is not much more to add. The fallback scenario would be that the entire move up here was a wave 1 and we now do a decent wave 2 that would most likely let us go into the yellow support area. Yeah, all of this a wave 1, then coming down in a large wave 2. That's possible as well. They are both likely, unfortunately, right? This scenario here is quite likely that the entire wave 1 topped here, because where I had the wave 2 before, that would have been a very, very shallow wave 2. We know that. It was very shallow, not ideal. So it is shallow enough to be a wave 4 and that to count the entire move up as a wave 5 of this larger one. So yeah, but we don't know. It's these two scenarios which are valid. That I'm watching on this time frame, and it will be determined by this pullback which one is going to work out. But both of them, especially as long as the 21,557 level is holding, should afterwards lead to a third wave rally. On the larger time frame, what would be the fallback scenario? What happens if we even lose the 21,557 level? Well, then I think I mentioned that in yesterday's, I made a longer video yesterday in which I talked about several scenarios. Well, then we have to say that the move down that started on the 16th of February, yeah, that this was just an A wave. We had here an overshooting B wave, but it did overshoot quite a bit more than it would be normal and expected. But I've seen those overshooting B waves before. It's just rare. And we could then come down in a larger C wave in this area again. And as long as we're holding 17.4K, that's all still fine. Then we are back in the green support area. Yeah. They are all valid scenarios. You need to understand on which time frame we're talking about here, and on different time frames you have different scenarios, of course. But first of all, we focus on the orange support area that goes down to 24,942. That's the most imminent one. If we break below that, we probably head in the larger wave 1 scenario into the yellow box. But if we lose 21,557, we have one more large support area left. If we get into this region by the time, we should be very much oversold already again. So there's a good chance to then bottom here in a C wave of wave 2 and then rally in a larger third wave. These are all possible scenarios. That's the large pullback down back into the green support area is not my primary, but it is possible. Okay, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.